So I'm here to talk about connectional intelligence. Sounds really academic, right? Yeah. So what I'm really here to do is have you see me and understand why I do what I do. From when I was 22, I was an investment banker, community organizer. I knew that these two worlds had more to learn from each other than antagonize each other. I, with a few friends, had an idea where we could work together to donate, whether it was 5 hours of time a week or 5 hours of time a month, to volunteer our time collectively to help nonprofits in New York. And so I pitched an idea to Acumen Fund, which is a global nonprofit, on an idea to create a young professionals hub where each of us could donate different time together. And we started in one coffee shop, and we ended up growing over time, having late night meetings because we all had busy day jobs. And our community, Young Professionals for Acumen Fund, turned into a global network in 20 cities with thousands of members. And this is a picture of me and my core group that started, our team of 10, that started in New York back in 2007. And this is a picture of one woman that was in our community and started with us. Her name was Jessica Fasciano. And Jessica wasn't at that event, that picture that I shared before, because on December 17th, 2011, my friend, Jessica, committed suicide. It wasn't something I could easily believe. Her smile and positive spirit was so focused on changing the world. She was successful on so many levels. She was my friend. We stayed in touch even when I moved to Boston. I had no idea she was depressed. And losing her threw me into a very painful place of loss and hopelessness. As I gathered with my community, the Acumen community, now in all different cities around the world, I started to heal. And during that process, I also woke up to a few things. I woke up to what we as a group, as a community, a quote-unquote rapidly successful community, had not noticed about what was happening to our friend. And I learned, while I'm not blaming anyone, and there's so many complications to this illness, I learned that we as a community were in connection, but we weren't connectionally intelligent. And because of that, I'm inspired by stories like this one. This is the story of Noah Brotoback. In December of 2012, Noah Brotoback was 12 years old, and he had been struggling from bullying at school. He was ostracized in school. Other kids started to bully him in school and then online. And Noah felt like he had nowhere to go. So on Instagram, one day in December, he wrote a post that said that he was going to schedule his suicide on his 13th birthday. And this is the picture where he cut himself that he posted on Instagram. And Noah's mother, Judy, obviously was frantic and took Noah to the hospital. And Noah spent 2 weeks in mental health treatment. And while Noah's mother, Judy, was didn't know what to do, when she asked police to help, when she asked parents of bullies to help, and nobody was doing anything about her son, she had an idea, and she called in a new source of help. And so what she did in those 2 weeks when Noah was in the hospital is she created a website called Letters for Noah. And she created a Facebook page and a P.O. box. And she started to ask people around the world to write letters to her son Noah. Letters to tell him that he mattered and that he was loved. And so when Noah came back 2 weeks later, thousands of letters began pouring in. And over time, Noah began to heal. In an interview he did, there was a quote that said, from Noah, he said, "I used to think the world was all about the bullies. But now I realize that people really care about me." And the reason I tell you these two stories is because somebody lived and somebody didn't. And Noah's mother used her connectional intelligence to help save a life. So this is why I do what I do. And each of you have a connection to something that matters. Fear, love, courage, collision, necessity. And I believe that innovation at its root comes from connection to people, places, things, ideas, resources, cities. And today, I believe that we are on the rise of a profound new age of connection, an age that I call the Connectional Enlightenment, fueled not only by digital, but by other technologies, material sciences, power, logistics, transport. And it's changing our world. And it's not that connection is new, right? In fact, in the Leonardo da Vinci and Medici family days, people used connection to combine, where scientists, poets, philosophers came together to innovate. But today, the scale, depth, and breadth of connection is radically different. Our connection looks like what we saw after the gang rape in India last December, where a young woman, a 20-something woman, went to a dinner and a movie and was tortured and died. And that story isn't new, but it was our connection to this woman across classes, across countries, across generations, across genders, that we stood, that we act, that we voiced, and that led to government ruling in 10 days in India. It was the connection of Aheda Zanetti, a woman that was Lebanese, that moved to Australia. This woman was a Muslim woman who would go to the beach, and Aheda wore a burqa, but she would go to the beach all the time, and she could never go in the water. So one day, when she tapped into her globe-trotting cultural background, she said, "Why not put a burqa and a bikini together and create the burkini?" which is a fully modest swimwear suit that is now a bestseller for Muslim women to go in the water. And what's interesting is that 30% of her market is not Muslim women. It's women that want to be fully covered because of skin cancer or maybe curves, right? Or maybe they had body disfiguration because of cancers or illnesses, right? It's also about the connection of people like Kareem Lakhani, who's up there on the other side. Kareem is a leading crowdsourcing expert. And when a toothpaste company they had a big science problem. They were trying to figure out how to get more fluoride into their toothpaste tube. This is a new type of fluoride. And all the chemists were working on it, and they couldn't get the fluoride into the toothpaste tube. And they were like, this must be a mechanical flow problem. So they kept figuring it out, and they couldn't get it right. So what they decided to do is go to Kareem and say, can we crowdsource this question? Can we ask others? And so Kareem created a crowdsourcing contest, right? And within a few days, a physicist looked at this challenge, and he said, this isn't a mechanical flow problem. It's about charged particles. You charge the tube, you charge the fluoride, and instantly the fluoride right into the tube, and the problem was solved, right? So connection is changing our world in many different ways. And I believe that what's needed in the rise of the Connectional Enlightenment is what I call Connectional Intelligence, which is really the capability to drive breakthrough innovation by harnessing the power of our relationships and networks. And I believe that it's made up of 4 key qualities and capabilities: courage, curiosity, combination, and combustion. So what does this look like in action? So this is one story of connectional intelligence. Has anyone seen this ad or where it came from? Shout out where it came from. Super Bowl. And where did you see it during the Super Bowl? Twitter, right. So as many of us know, when we watched the Super Bowl this year, there was a blackout. And that was a surprise. That wasn't planned. And during the blackout, while most fans were eating snack chips, within 4 minutes of the blackout, Oreo came out with this ad. And they wrote, "Power out, no problem. You can dunk your Oreo in the dark," right? And this ad on Twitter was designed, captioned, and reviewed in 4 minutes and got up on Twitter and went viral. Thousands and thousands of retweets and likes. It was talked all over on the internet, and it was dubbed the best Super Bowl marketing ad at the game. And by the way, it beat all the multi-million-dollar commercials, including Oreos, and it took minutes instead of months, right? So how did this happen? Well, a key leader at Kraft, Bone & Bow, knew that you can't just let connection happen on its own. You actually have to prepare for it. So what he did is he made sure that all the key decision makers were watching the game together, from executives to creative, to legal, to the agency, right? So they could all watch the game together just to see if they could capitalize on something. And it was because he had kept preparing forums like this together that this ad was able to combust. There was the curiosity, the courage, the combustion of it, right? And now this ad is flipping the mindsets of customer marketing in the future. So let me ask you, right? This created hundreds of millions of dollars in sales over the past 6 months for Oreo. But what really matters here, and what I want to ask you, is what is the Oreo breakthrough of your life, of your business, of this city? What is that thing that you're going to combine and have the courage to do, to create? And use your connectional intelligence to do it. This is another story. This is Bettina Segal, the story of Bettina Segal and the Pink Slime campaign. Bettina Segal was a mom blogger, and she had 2 young children. She lived in Houston, and she was very interested in the food space. She had a blog called The Lunch Tray, and she wrote all about food. She had a whole community that she had created online of public health activists, nutritionists, all different types of food safety professionals, right? And over time, she had the curiosity to follow Jamie Oliver's talks and learn about a specific type of beef called LFTB. It's been dubbed the term pink slime because it is basically the same quality as pet food. And over time, through her curiosity, she read that this specific pink slime was still in 70% of beef products sold in the US and in all of USDA public school lunches as an ingredient. And she was outraged. So she had the courage to go off on this on her blog and then create a change.org petition. Right? And so once she did that, things started happening. Congressmen started sending letters into the USDA advocating for pink slime to be removed from school lunches. 100,000 people had signed the petition in a few days. Wendy's pulled out ads to make sure that everyone knew that they didn't have pink slime in their ingredients. Safeway, Kroger, and Food Lion all removed pink slime in that first week. And on the 9th day of this campaign, 250,000 people had signed this petition. On the 10th day, the USDA came out with a press release that schools would now, public schools in the US would now have an option to remove pink slime. So in days, this business went from a $650 million business to a $130 million business, and thousands of people lost their jobs. Right? And Bettina Segal had the courage to do it. Right? So let me ask you again, what is the pink slime of your life, of your business, of this city? And are you willing to have the courageous conversations that need to happen in order to actually create change and use connectional intelligence to do it? So I really believe that the job of any leader, any scientist, any artist, those that want to live up to their greatness, is by mastering connectional intelligence. And the key questions I want to leave you with is, are you curating the optimal forums for connectional intelligence? Are you hosting the courageous conversations that need to be happening for connectional intelligence to happen? The productive conflict, not just the collaboration, the sparring zones where people, where dissonance is driving innovation. And are you combining the optimal people, ideas, and resources to come up with the breakthroughs of your life, of your venture, of the city? I believe that connectional intelligence is the opportunity and challenge of the century. So in closing, I want to ask you, do you have the courage, the wisdom, and the purpose to harness connectional intelligence to create the future you want? Because I need you, we need you, Noah needs you, and the world needs you for each and every one of us who have ever felt lost or alone. Thank you.